Hi everybody, welcome to day 5, I believe, or 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. Today, there's a little bit of background noise, as you can hear, but I have the mixer back there, so hopefully it's not too loud, because today I want to show you how to make butter. You're out of butter, you didn't expect it, you need some butter, super easy to make, but it just takes a little while, so I've had the mixer actually running for about 10 or 12 minutes already. And I'll show you what it's doing, but I did want to get that started so you wouldn't be sitting here just watching the mixer for 15 minutes. So let me see. So I will shut that off. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade butter. It's actually pretty cool because you end up with butter and you also end up with buttermilk. So if you want to make buttermilk pancakes or buttermilk biscuits, you get buttermilk out of it as well. All you need is a pint of heavy cream. If you have a cow, that's great. If you have your own source for fresh whole milk, that's great. But if you don't, you just use regular heavy cream. And then you need a little bit of salt at the end, and you need a mixer. It does take a while, which, like I said, is why I wanted to get it started before this actually started. It takes about 15 minutes in total. So all you do is you put your heavy cream into your stand mixer. You'll know how to make whipped cream, and that's basically what you're doing. So you pour your heavy cream into your stand mixer, mix it. When it gets to the stiff peaks place, you can turn up your mixer speed a little bit on high, and you just keep mixing it for about 15 minutes. It's about 10 or 12 minutes now. It started to turn yellow. It's gotten pretty clumpy. You know, if you beat your heavy cream too long when you're making whipped cream, it kind of starts to separate, get clumpy. That's what you want. So this is what it's done for about 12 minutes. So I'm going to give it another couple minutes, and what you're looking for is you want it to separate. It's going to separate into the liquid and the solid. The liquid is the buttermilk that you can strain off, and the solid will be your butter. One pint of heavy cream makes 1 stick of butter and about a cup of buttermilk, just for your reference. You can make bigger batches if you wanted to do a quart at a time. You could do that as well, and you end up with 2 sticks of butter. So it's starting to get a little bit wet. Oops. There is a little bit of liquid coming out of it, so it's probably just about there. So I'm just going to give it another minute or two. You can also put the heavy cream into a mason jar and shake it, but it's going to take you all day. So this is a much quicker method to use to make your butter. Once it does start to separate, I just want to strain it into a bowl. So I've got a mesh strainer and a little bowl. And that's looking good. I've got some liquid. So I'm going to strain it. You can see the liquid coming out of it. You just want to press down on it and get as much liquid out of it as you can. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Then you're also going to need a bowl of cold water. I really want to press down on this and get as much liquid out of it as I can, because you want to save your buttermilk. pretty good, and I do have about a cup of buttermilk. So now I'm just going to get my butter out and into the cold water. And I just want to sort of knead it into a ball. You want to rinse it and knead it 3 times, but for the sake of time, I'll just do it once, but you want to do it until your water comes out clear. I'm just going to dump my water out because I'm going to use my bowl again. Okay, so I've got my ball of butter. So at this point, I just want to add a little bit of salt, maybe, I don't know, just a little sprinkle of salt, kind of knead that in. And at this point, your butter is done. If you just want to make regular salted butter, or obviously if you want unsalted butter, skip the salt. This makes a stick of butter. You can roll it into a log in parchment. You can put it into ramekins. But basically, your butter's done at this point. Since it's the holidays, though, I thought it would be fun to make a holiday butter. So I'm going to add honey and cranberries to my butter. I've got some dried cranberries. You could use dried cherries. If you wanted to, you could use raisins. I'm going to chop them up a little bit smaller. Got maybe 2 tablespoons, I guess, here. So those are chopped. I'm going to add them to my bowl. And I'm also going to add a little bit of honey. If you didn't want to do the fruit, you could just do the honey, and now you've got some really nice honey butter. And maybe like a teaspoon of butter, of honey. And just mix it all together. You can add garlic, you can add chopped herbs, either fresh or dried. You can make really any kind of flavored butter you want to. All right, so that's mixed in pretty well. And what I'd like to do, especially for the holidays, is use little condiment dishes and put your butter into the condiment dish, and then everybody gets their own personal butter. This is good too if you're making a couple different flavors. If you're gonna have, you know, like a crackers or a charcuterie board or something. So I'm just gonna press my butter into my dish, and then, hands are slippery. Just kind of flatten it out so it's all nice and neat. There you go. You have a little personal dish of your cranberry or dried cherry honey butter. You want to refrigerate it. The butter will last about 2 or 3 weeks in the refrigerator. And as I mentioned, you can shape it into a log or a stick and wrap it in parchment and then slice it, or put it in individual ramekins to use later. So there's cranberry honey homemade butter.